Hey, Divine Ones, it's Jerome Braggs, the Soul Medicine Man, and coming to you at a different time than I usually do. This is in the evening, and this was just on my heart. I wanted to share something with you really quickly. Since you know my new website has gone live at the very beginning of this year. Since my website has gone live, and a lot of people have been viewing it and looking at my story. Probably more people have been viewing my story and knowing about my healing journey and my near-death experiences that started it. I've been getting a lot of questions. I've been getting a lot of inboxes, particularly about this one thing. So I wanted to share really quickly what this is about. I've been getting for a lot those people that know that I had a near-death experience when doctors gave me the second time when doctors gave me 48 hours to live, and I had a near-death experience where I literally met the divine and had a conversation with the divine, where the divine told me what the keys were to healing my body and flourishing my life. But in that experience, I had an experience of the divine and what I call really divine unconditional love. And so I've been getting this question a lot where people are asking me, what does divine love really feel like? What does it actually feel like? What is the divine's presence and the love of the divine? What does that actually feel like? And so I wanted to tell you really quickly, I wanted to share with you what my experience of it was and what it feels like. Not just to share with you my own experience, but in hopes that what I share with you can help you change and heal your life in some way. So, um, I'm not going to go in depth about my experience because you can see it on the website. There's not just in my bio do I write about it, but I also share it in a video on my website in my bio in depth. So if you want to see exactly what my near-death experience was, I suggest you go there to jeromebraggs.com. But once, divine love felt like it was three kind of things. It's kind of hard to explain the totality of my experience with it and the totality of how it felt. But there were specifically three things that I can say that describe it. And the first thing I would say was that when I had the experience of the divine in my near-death experience, I felt held, like deeply deeply held, as if every part of my being and um, every part of me, past, present, even future parts of me, were fully supported. That there was no part of me at any time in my entire timeline of my life where I had been alone, even in the times when I was in my physical body where I felt like I was alone. There were many times in my history where I felt like that. Um, I felt the truth of it, that I was always surrounded by and always engulfed and always connected to love at its highest form. And not just the energy of love, but that there were beings, not physical and non physical, beings I've seen before, beings I've never seen before, that are always surrounding me, always loving me, always supported. So the first part of that was really I felt ridiculously held, supported in a way where I knew that there was nothing to fear. That there was absolute. Here I was dying, by the way. You all, like I'm literally dying, and I was having this experience where I knew that no matter what, there was nothing to fear. There was never anything to fear. There was anything to fear that was happening right now, and there was anything happening like that. There was nothing to fear before, and there would never be anything to fear. Um, so that was the first part of that, right? That was the first that it felt like I was completely and utterly and eternally held. The second part of that was that there's nothing. It felt like there was nothing wrong with me, and that there had never been. that that the totality of my being was viewed as whole and worthy and nothing missing from it and nothing needed to be added to it and nothing I had to apologize for. And this is something that really a lot of people, hmm, I just kind of felt right back into that. That really a lot of people, it it kind of hits a certain place into this because of what I'm about to say goes against everything we've ever been taught, and even in our spiritual circles and in the New Age circles and metaphysical circles. But it was like I was being judged for nothing. There was nothing I was being judged for. There was nothing I needed to ask forgiveness for. There was nothing I was being forgiven for. It was like every aspect of me, the choices I made, whether they were painful or pleasurable, the things that I viewed as mistakes or wins, like every aspect of my being was fully embraced, and it was viewed as wholly worthy. So there was nothing wrong with me, right? That when I was in that presence, that's exactly what I felt. And then the last part of that, so held, first part, nothing wrong with me. That all of me was not just enough, but that it was worthy and that it was whole and that the entirety of life celebrated it. The entirety of all that is, like whether you call it God, whether you call it source, whether you call it God's angels, whether you call it higher self, whatever you call it, the entirety of it viewed me as something to wholly celebrate. And all of us, not just, I'm speaking about my experience, but this is what I know is true for all of us. And then the last part of that was that it felt like all is well, like everything was well. No, no, even though had been, diagnosed with kidney failure and AIDS and pancreatitis and anemia and a parasite in my stomach and a fluid packed lung. And here I was on my deathbed with blood spurting out from the surgery and, not just dying. Um, all was well. That wasn't real. That what was real is well-being. That well-being abounds throughout my whole entire, not just the timeline of my physical life in this incarnation that you see as Jerome, but in the literal incarnation of my entire being. That all is well always, and in all ways. So it was beyond my understanding. It was beyond anything I had felt before. I've been able to get snippets of it since in meditations and also, in the way I've been trying to approach my life. I didn't. A lot of people will say, so did you just immediately become, completely all of that once you came out of your near-death experience? And it took me a long time to really embody that because I had to heal. I had to heal the belief systems within me that made me feel like there was something about me that wasn't enough. There's something about me that wasn't worthy, even though I had this experience that let me know that all of those beliefs were false and that they weren't true. I had to heal the aspects of me that were afraid and believed that, I was in danger some way, not just like physical attack danger, but in danger of not being safe to be myself in the world, not being safe, that things are going to always work out for me. All of that, I had to heal those beliefs when I came back from my NDE. And the other part of that too was just really embodying and doing the work, the healing inner work to really understand that at all points in my life, I'm supported. I'm not alone. I'm surrounded by love, both in physical form and non-physical form, and that all is well, and that began to inform how I began to change my life. And that's really the invitation. Like when I talk about things or I teach things or I work with clients, that's really the invitation for our lives, is not to necessarily need to have a near-death experience to have that awareness, but to really do the inner work that will allow us to understand more that there is nothing wrong with us, that we actually are holy and worthy, no matter what our history has been, no matter what color our skin, no matter what gender, no matter what sexuality, no matter what path we're taking, no matter how angry we feel or sad we feel or blissful we feel, that nothing is wrong with you, that you're enough, that you're whole and you're complete, and that the the transformation of your life happens when you begin to embrace that wholeness, embody it, and honor it in your behaviors, in your thought processes, and in your energy. The same thing with all is well. You know, can I move through my life? You know, some days I do really well with that. Some days I'm really shitty at it. But can I move through my life really with an understanding that no matter what I see externally, the truth of my being is that all is well? And can I honor that? And can I hold the energy of that so that I can experience the life unfolding of it for myself? But yeah, so that was it. You know, I didn't want to take too much time. I just wanted to share with you all, you know, because I've gotten a lot of questions from people about, you know, since I experienced divine love, what did it actually feel like? And it felt like there was nothing wrong with me. It felt like I was completely held and supported and never alone. And that all is well, always and in all ways. So I hope that kind of informs your truth, because that's not just the truth for me, that's the truth for all of us, because we are all souls, we are all facets of God having human experiences. And what I was reminded of in my NDE was the truth of us all. It's the divine eternal truth of our being. So that is your truth as well. You are worthy. There is nothing wrong with you. You are loved. You are, all is well. You are held. And life just really wants to prove it to you. So thank you for watching this late night. I hope you are well. And as always, heal, be well, and flourish. Much love.